Hey, I'm Ty Tieng from Testforce. I'm the NI product line manager, and we're here at the Automotive Testing Expo in Novi. I'm joined today by Brandon Brice, a solution marketer in the transportation BU at NI. And he's going to explain kind of some of the solutions that NI has that we're exhibiting at the booth.
Thanks, Ty. Hi, I'm Brandon Brice. I'm an EV solutions marketer here at NI. So, kind of starting off with the story here, this is our inverter test system. It is geared towards hardware-in-the-loop testing of the traction inverter ECU. So, what you want to do is to be able to simulate the environment around the traction inverter, starting with the motor, the power electronics, the battery, and the rest of the vehicle. This system here does all of that simulation. And here would be kind of the DUT or the traction inverter ECU that we're working through. And from a software standpoint, we take the modeling environment from, like, say, Simulink. We run that in our Veristan software, and basically we are able to do a real-time stimulus profile and actually exercise the traction inverter ECU itself. So this would be your inverter test side. I think on the other end of that spectrum, you think about the battery test, and this is where we take a look at our battery test system. For battery tests, what we focus on traditionally is kind of a battery validation lab. So you think about, you have your battery, you also may have a cycler that's actually doing the charging and discharging of the battery. You have a chamber that you want to focus on, and in that chamber is where you would actually have the battery that's doing maybe temperature tests. And you also need something that's going to do all the control of that. On the control side is our battery test system, and so that actually is the orchestrator of kind of the battery test cell. It's talking to things like the cycler, which are doing the high power charge and discharge of the battery. And then you also have the other components that are like the chamber in other areas, the chiller that do the temperature control, and then the software to go along with it, which the software is kind of on the back end here, but that's where you have all of the supervisor management and everything for the lab itself. If we take a step away from EV and jump into more on the ADAS side, this is kind of the other half of our business here. On the ADAS side, if I want to tell a story through it, I would say we start with Conrad. So Conrad is an integration partner of ours. And when you think about ADAS, really what you want to start with is how do you actually capture all the data of the world around you? So you want to create a simulation environment. And that's where Conrad has a great system that actually does in-vehicle data logging. So it takes sensors like LiDAR, radar, camera, and allows you to actually put this onto a vehicle, drive around the world around you, and start tagging bits of data that you're seeing. So do I see a car? Do I see a person? Do I see a dog? Whatever it may be. So it's capturing all that data inside of the vehicle. And as you start to gather all that data, you then want to go back and figure out, how do I go take this data off the car, put it onto a computer, and go and replay it. So I take it off of the car. I come into our ingest station. In the ingest world, this is where I take the RAID drive that came out of here, put it into this RAID drive right here, and essentially all I'm doing is downloading all of the bits of data that I had in the system. And so you want to take this, it's actually a video showing you guys kind of how the drive works, but you take that, put this into the rack, and you're storing this on Seagate hard drives here. So this is a partnership that NI has with Seagate that allows us to take both a portable hard drive as well as store it into a rack mount hard drive or a server itself. Now that I have the data on here, I need to go back and replay it. And so that's when we jump back to this side here, where I'm able to take that and create a simulation of the world around me. So in here is where I would take all the data that's been downloaded. I'd run it on this Titan PC right here. And the thing I'm actually trying to exercise is the Nvidia Drive, basically ADAS ECU. So this would be the customer system that actually does all of the compute and sensor management and sensor loading of the car around it. So the radars, the cameras, the LiDARs, the ultrasonics, everything there. This is kind of the brains of any autonomous vehicle system. So what we're doing actually here is I'm playing all of that data that we just downloaded in a simulation world. And we have a partnership with Monodrive that allows us to do this. And I'm using the PXI system here from NI to actually send those bits of data that I'm seeing into the ADAS ECU to actually test the autonomous control and perception algorithms of the ADAS system. So that's kind of the ADAS story, if you will, of how we go from logging to ingestion to replay and hill, and really how the customer workflow typically happens. I'd say the final bit of that, if you think about ADAS, there's one other element that really kind of shouldn't be left out, and that's where we talk about vehicle to everything, or V2X. So this is where we have a partner like SEA that comes in and creates a system that focuses on, how do you have a vehicle that communicates with other vehicles? How do you have a vehicle that communicates with a network? How do you have a vehicle that communicates with infrastructure? It's kind of like the future of where we're going on a communication standpoint and how cars talking to each other. So in that, we have a partner at SEA that actually has the ability to simulate the communication protocol that should be happening from your car to another car or to your building or wherever it may be. Eventually, you're going to have a car that may be able to tell you it's coming by on your phone and watch out or step out of the way or we're running this red light, whatever it may be. That's really the V to X or V to V, V to N, whatever it may be, kind of communication protocol. And that's where SEA comes in. And then, of course, last but not least, are our friends here at Testforce, I'd say, who are in the back on this end. And this is just really kind of showing off the traditional NI platforms and our systems here, like Compact DAC, which allow you to do both acquisition, generation, all of your traditional analog, digital, the lines you may see there. So this is a fun little demo box that it gives you kind of the ability to do strain gauge, temperature measurements, analog inputs, digital outputs, all of that stuff as well. So I think that's kind of our gist here. Any last words, Ty?
Appreciated. Just wanted to let everyone know, as you can see, we have quite the offering for the transportation industry as a whole. Everything from the EV side, autonomy and ADAS, and we have great partners at NI and also the NI solution partners. So thank you so much, and that's it. And have a great weekend. Take care.